thank you for your introduction, Denise. My specialty is hospitality design. Given today's topic of design and time, I would like to tell you about an issue I have observed consistently over the years that might be particularly relevant to China today. I will share a few examples to illustrate this topic as I speak. The issue is, do we as designers have a duty to preserve the past? I've been traveling extensively around China over the last 5 years. Each time I go to a city, I do research in preparation for the trip and for the project. In hospitality design, we always make ourselves aware of each location. We seek out local artists and artisans whose work and products we can use in our interiors to create an environment with a better sense of place. In many ways, nothing could have prepared me for what I've witnessed in China during the current development boom. With some cities, while some cities have managed to hang on to historic areas, the majority of new development involves demolishing vast portions of cities and erecting modern 20th and 21st century buildings. This new construction creates an overall visual that tends to be generic. Therefore, the visitor to China who might have read about the history of a city or an area and who expects to see and even stay in fine examples of historic Chinese architecture will often find themselves in a hotel and in surroundings that could just as easily be in downtown Chicago or Berlin. Now, I am all for modern development and design, but what is happening in China today reminds me of what took place in post-war England and America, where old, sometimes damaged buildings were consistently demolished to make way for newly designed, efficient towns and development areas. Modern high-rises were built in quantity. Steel, glass, plastics, and vinyls were the interior materials of choice. Natural materials were out. Synthetics were in. Old was bad and undesirable. New was good and highly coveted. Out with the old and in with the new was not questioned as, next page, the best way to improve progress and improve the lives of workers and families in both commercial and domestic architecture. Just as in China now, new towns sprang up overnight, connected by high-speed roads and trains. Everyone was seduced by clean, simple, modern lines and efficient, practical buildings. Therefore, many towns are unrecognizable from their pre-war appearance. In North America, while the cities had not suffered bomb damage, they suffered from unfettered enthusiasm for minimalist, practical design solutions. At the time, we were told by designers that this movement would itself become historic, and indeed it has. There are often no remnants of the past, and this is the danger in China today. When you speak to the younger generation in China, they are full of enthusiasm for everything new and beam with pride as they show you the new buildings. With the same mindset that we saw in the 1950s in the West, this motivation might be blinding them to the merit of their own fascinating past. They want visitors to be impressed by the capabilities of the new China and see that China's cities are as progressive and cutting edge as any other modern cities, and that they are. They might not realize that foreigners want to experience cities and places that are unique to the country they are visiting. And so today, as I go from one city to another, I think about the hotel guest coming to these places. What do they expect? What do they see? Have they arrived in China, or Europe, or America? Luckily, in my opinion, by the mid-1960s, designers in the US and England began to question the wisdom of automatic demolition of old buildings and the belief that they could always improve upon the past. They worked to encourage their clients to keep old warehouses and factories and train stations and barns on sites scheduled for redevelopment. They found new uses for old buildings, and as a result, cities across America and Europe have a combination of the old and the new, so that visitors can continue to discover the unique characteristics of each city and experience the story of that city and its people. Now you can go to New York and stay in a brand new steel and glass hotel, or spend the night in an old brick warehouse in the meatpacking district. As you walk the streets of Chicago, San Francisco, London, or Paris, you have no doubt about which city you are in, and that is what I personally would like to see happening in the cities of China. My point is, therefore, how can we learn from our recent past in the West and offer that experience to the East, so that, should she want to, China too can keep away of keeping her rich heritage by charging fast and furiously into the 21st century. In America, we're talking about 200 years. In China, it is more like 5,000. As I see hotels that I'm working on in China in their international context, I think that this issue of maintaining the culture and flavor of the past alongside new and modern construction could be vital to the overall preservation of Chinese culture and therefore the tourist experience. In hospitality design, we are constantly dealing with how interior spaces, buildings and cities present themselves to the visitor. So the question is it our duty to help the cities tell their story? If this burden is valid, is it our burden as designers? I think so. Thank you.